Hello. So today I am doing a makeup assignment for my stage makeup class to do that because I was not able to attend the special effects class. And I'm going to be posting this on YouTube. Also, I don't know how to edit. So some of this is for class, some of this is for YouTube. It's going to both. I am doing special effects makeup today, and that includes bruises, cuts, and I think a bit of like a road rash-ish. I think that's what it's supposed to be. I don't know. So, with that out of the way. So, what I always do is start with a clean base, and I am using LT2, the Mayron stick, if you can see it. If I can find the front. There we go. Wow, that's hard to see. There we go. This isn't the best place to film because of the lighting from there and there, but it was also the freest place because I'm currently moving. So, using a knife to get some foundation. Typically, what you do is you get a little palette, and I'm using a plate to get it out of the containers so you don't contaminate anything. But generally speaking, I leave it in the spoon that I used to pull it out in the first place, just because I feel like it leaves it a little bit easier, and then I can do stuff like this, just to make sure I don't get too much. Though getting too much isn't typically something you have to worry about. Like, I know it's right there, but if we just swipe it away a little bit, and then we can use the rest on our forehead. I tend to go a bit heavier on the foundation, so. Stop that. Toast is one of the cats. He's messing around. So I am making a design for Percy Jackson, if you've ever seen the Percy Jackson musical, which is why I'm using a bit paler than I'm used to. Because you can see, like, at this point, it's a bit darker than me, but this is just the base. Once we get to the, let's get to the details of it, it'll make more sense. See? I think I went a little bit too heavy on this side, which might be part of the problem. I think I might have just been spending a little bit more time outside, so my natural base has changed, because this is usually the base I use, and this is a lot wider than it should. You're a menace to society. Well, now that he's knocked my glasses off, he can't knock off much more. Make sure you get up into the hairline, because that's a whole thing, and especially if you're going to be on stage, you want to cover the ears, blend out into the neck. And I personally like to just lightly coat the lips, just ever so slightly, to make them a little bit less pink. And that's done with the base. Let's see if we can get the lighting a little better. One second. Hopefully that's better. It's not much different, but I feel like it's some different. So this is it. I don't know why it's coming up so, like, ghosty, because I know that is not how it looks. That's something to take into effect if you're going to be doing stuff like this, is how it will show up on screen. Because, you know, it depends on the lighting of what you have. So I'm going to do a little bit of contour, and for contour I'm going to use let's decide. Yeah, I believe I'm going to use olive. So, fresh fork. Some people use the same ones of every kind and just scoop stuff out, and I know the word isn't scoop stuff out, it's decant. But yeah, they decant do it. They decant out with one, but I personally don't like to do that because I tend to get things a lot more messy. And to specify where exactly the contour goes, I'm going to use a brush. Now, Percy is a small kid. So not much is needed. I think I might need to mix that with a little bit of black, just to make it a bit darker. Obviously I'm basing it off myself, but if you notice, I have a little bit grayer eye bags. That's a cup. Do you see what I live with? And I'm personally gonna just smudge it out ever so slightly. The only time I use fingers is after I've applied it, and only if it's on my face. Obviously, this isn't the kind of thing you want to do with someone else's face. And let's make the nose a little bit. See? And then my nose looks not too much, but just a little bit skinnier. Even when you're doing special effects, contour really helps. And I'm honestly not going to do too much to my face. Make the jawline just a hair sharper. No, I don't usually have to worry about hairline. Or not hairline. I don't usually have to worry about jawline, that's it. Because I've got just a small amount of like facial hair to make it look like my jaw's a lot sharper. So, up close, far away. I'll use just a little bit. Let me pull up my design. I definitely think that it is very useful to have a design, and I'll use a little bit this just to lightly cover the lips a little bit more. And that's done with that. Which is the only reason I did my mouth, because I'm not going to do my mouth first or second. It's going to come last. Alright. And next up is bruise. So I think what I'm going to do is start from the outside and go in, but it's generally supposed to look like a black eye. And again, I'll be using a brush. I just personally think, especially for bruises, that brushes are the right way to go. And when it comes to bruises, don't be afraid to try things, especially with this kind of work, because even with placement, it's not going to come out perfect, and expecting it to isn't going to end well. Thank you for the bell. So it's like that. And for the bruise wheel, which this is what this is, I'm using yellow, red, and black, I believe. The black will blend a little bit with the red to make more of a purplish color, because that's what I was trying to go for. So, I know most people tend to blend their bruises outward, and that is not a bad idea. I just prefer to work in, because I feel that it makes the color a little bit more even. I'm not going to go completely around, even though that is what I want, is specifically right here. I think it's going a little bit too far over with the red. So, I will be going with it, because apparently I do not have access to stuff right now. And then I'm going to take another sponge. think it went a little bit too far into the nose. Let's see if I can... This is close up. I think I could use a little bit more yellow, just around the base. It's gonna be really hard working with like darker colors. Just because the lighter colors tend to get drowned out just a hair. You just want to blend in very gently. And I'm using a little bit of liquid latex to create a slight scar on the nose. And for the rest, it's the bruise. So for this, I've blended... This is an old palette. This is one of the first I got for class. A little bit of the red and a little bit of the blue. It did come out a little bit more purple than I would like it to, so I'm going to add just a hair of black. If one can add just a hair of anything. And typically I wouldn't use the stipple sponge to completely apply stuff, but in this case I will, just because I want it to have that like sort of splotchy look. Adding just a little bit of yellow to this as well. I think especially for newer bruises or older bruises, the splotchiness helps, especially if interspersing it with yellow. there's that. Let me check this. Okay. So the liquid latex didn't come out the way I wanted. So what we're gonna do is use a little bit of this, which is modeling putty? Yeah, modeling putty. And we're just gonna blend it out a little bit. And my fingers are honestly a bit messy. But a little bit, just for now, is okay. Typically you'd want to wash your hands like regularly. It's just I have a lot of stuff to do today. And I'll just use the back of my knife, or the front of it actually. Hold on, that looks better. Oh, it's stuck in there a little bit. Okay. Oh, and it pulled off. That can happen sometimes. Though hopefully not with your real nose. Just saying. So it makes that little ridge over there if you see it. And I actually am probably going to use a little bit more of the purple that I used to create this. Just very neatly. That. It makes it a little bit easier because honestly you don't need to blend it in as much if you do that. Typically you'd want to cover it with your base. And this is the hardest part. So what I'm gonna do is find something. Here we go. I'm using the clean knife to very gently apply a little bit of fake blood, if I can get the lighting back, to the scarring. It is very hard to see right now. Now that I've applied it into it, just the smallest bit. And I typically like a natural pull effect, so I'm going to tilt a little bit, some different ways to get it to change where it's going. And what I'll typically do, especially at the end of this part, make sure that I have everything closed up, and just drip gently on over the plate. That is definitely not recommended. Well, first of all, you want to do blood absolutely last, because once you apply that, you're done. You You can't go back and change the color. You can't go back and do anything like that. You're done. And do be careful with the blood because it can be a little messy. Typically, I like to have lines of blood going from a wound, just personally. I think it makes more of an aesthetic. So we're just gonna swipe down. Obviously with any wound it makes sense for it to be in a specific spot, if that's where it came from. And we want it to dry both in sort of this pooling like droplet that's going on here, but also not. So I'm just gonna swipe it away just ever so slightly. And this is it. This is my completed Percy Jackson look. Specifically, the idea is around the end of the play, after he's gone through his full battle, because if you didn't know, Percy Jackson the musical is based off of the first book of the Rick Riordan's original Percy Jackson the Olympian series. And I'm very sorry because I'm also kind of tired. If I were to give him a costume, I honestly would probably give him something similar to this. It's a Doctor Who shirt, and I think that outside of the early 2000s, he probably would have had, even in the 2000s, he would have had a large collection of. I really like how this turned out, actually. It's very pleasing. I think I went a little too heavy with this right here, and I wonder if I can. Oh yeah, much better. The hardest part, honestly, is blending, especially on stage, because if I go too light, then it's not going to show up on stage. If I go too dark, it's not going to be realistic, and it takes the audience out. But this has been my Percy Jackson special effects look. Bye. Also, just really quick, I want to point out that most times with stuff like this, you want to be using. Sorry about the microphone audio. Let's see if we can. There we go. If it's legible, it's color set powder. Unfortunately, it is close to time when I need to start heading up and getting ready, because I have work today, and then I have to meet up with a friend. Not in that order. But yeah, thank you for watching.